Welcome to the class, children. Hope all are safe and healthy. Always be safe, children. Today, in history, Unit 2, Ancient Civilization. This lesson, we're going to learn early societies and state formations and the development of civilizations. About this lesson, urban societies that adopted complex ways of life were more organized than the early hunter-gatherer and Neolithic farming societies. Urban societies had social stratification and well-planned cities. They practiced crafts, engaged in trade and exchange, adopted science and technology, and formed political organization, early form of state. Here, the definition of civilization. The term civilization is used to distinguish them from early forms of societies. However, they should not be considered superior to other forms of societies, since each culture or civilization had its own unique features. So, highly organized society marked by advanced knowledge of trade, government, arts, science, and often time-written language. Here, ancient civilization. Civilization is seen as an advanced, organized way of life. Yes, civilization is organized way of life. It instilled a way of life that could be considered as an adaptation to a particular environmental and cultural context. When it became necessary for large number of people to live in close proximity, they brought in planning, organization, and specialization. Settlements were planned and laid out. A polity emerged. Society became organized, and food production and craft production were regulated. As civilization began to take shape, huge buildings were built, the art of writing developed, and science and technology contributed to the betterment of society. Here, children, in this Asia map, in the green shade, it mentioned the four important early civilizations. Egyptian, here Nile. Mention Nile here, there, Egyptian civilization. Mesopotamia, already there, so Mesopotamian civilization. And here Gyal, Assur. So there, Chinese civilization, and Indo, that is Indus civilizations. So the Egyptian, the Mesopotamian, the Chinese, and the Indus were the important early civilization. In the map very clearly explained and which are the places. While these civilizations flourished in certain regions, people in other parts of the world lived as hunters, gatherers, and pastoralists. The hunters-gatherers and pastoralists maintain their relationship with these civilizations through interactions. Their history is also equally important. During the time of the civilization, South India witnessed the emergence of Neolithic agro-pastoral communities and a microlithic form of life by hunter-gatherers. Okay, children? Next, about the Egyptian civilization. As one of the oldest civilizations, the Egyptian civilization is known for its monumental architecture, agriculture, arts, science, and crafts at very early age. We are going to learn first in geography. Egypt lies in the northeastern corner of the African continent. Here, only the Nile River Valley. Inside the African continent map is given, children. In Africa continent, in this river line, Nile River. Okay, ma? Egypt lies in the northeastern corner of the African continent. It is bounded by the Red Sea on the east. Here you can see Red Sea in the right side. Here, right side means that side, east. It is bounded by the Red Sea on the east and the Mediterranean Sea in the north. Here clearly it is given Mediterranean Sea. In the north, Egypt is irrigated by the river Nile. River Nile, it is clearly given. And which originates in Lake Victoria in the south and flows into the Mediterranean Sea in the north. Deserts are seen on both sides of the Nile River. The Egyptian civilization depended solely upon the flow of Nile River, and hence Egypt was called the gift of Nile by the Greek historian Herodotus. The Nile also served as a means of transport. The Nile Valley is very rich and fertile as a river deposits fresh alluvium every year. This alluvium nurtured agriculture and helped to produce surplus of grains, leading to the development of Egyptian civilization. The dry region on both the sides of the Niles, however, remain deserts. So the Nile River played an important role in Egyptian civilization. It begins in the heart of Africa and flows northward for more than 4,000 miles. It is the longest river in the world. Clear, children? The next one, Hyksos, a nomadic people who conquered and ruled ancient Egypt. The Hyksos were the rulers of the 15th dynasty of Egypt, and they were probably from West Asia. About the Persian. The Persians are the people from the region of Persia. The Persia, the ancient Iran. Next, Greek. Greek refers to the language. It's a Greece. Here, northwest it is mentioned. Here, in this place, the green color, orange color and red, these are the places Greece country. Greek refers to the language and the people of modern day state of Greece in Europe. Rome. Next, Rome. Rome refers to the ancient Roman Empire, which had as its capital the city of Rome in Italy. Here you can see the Rome in Italy. Next, about here fully you can see the ancient Egypt. And here in the ancient Egyptian society, the Egyptian king was known as the Pharaoh. Here, children, in this pyramid, explain, you can see everything. Here, the first one, Pharaoh. The Egyptian king was known as the Pharaoh. The people treated Pharaoh as a divine form equal to God. Under the Pharaoh, there was a hierarchy of officials including viziers, the governors of provinces, local mayors and tax collectors. So these divisions, viziers, the governors of provinces, local mayors and tax collectors. The entire social system was supported by the work and production of artisans, including stone cutters. What the artisan works? Stone cutters, masons, potters, carpenters, coppersmiths and goldsmiths, peasants and workers. Like the variations of the work the people done. Land belonged to the king and was assigned to the officials. Slavery was not common, but captives were used as slaves. Here it mentioned the Egyptian social pyramid. This diagram shows how Egyptian society was shaped, which groups formed the top two levels of the social pyramid, the bottom, that is the two levels. Viziers here mentioned that they were the high officials who administered territories under the direction of the pharaohs. The Egyptians believed in life after death. Therefore, they preserved the dead body. The art of preserving the dead body is known as mummification. Here, ancient Egyptian, here only you can see the pharaohs. Preserving the dead body is known as mummification. Pyramids and tombs were built to preserve the body of pharaohs. Here you can see that here pyramids and tombs were built to preserve the body of pharaohs. The famous Egyptian pharaoh, here you can see King Tutankhamun, the famous Egyptian pharaoh Tutankhamun, who ruled from 1332 to 1322. Here in the screen you can see the golden mask of Tutankhamun, the mummified body of Tutankhamun. So in the BCE, tomb with a rich variety of offerings is located near Luxor in Egypt. The mask, here the king wear mask, the mask of his mummy made of gold and decorated with precious stones is an important artifact of Egyptian civilization. Here you can see, children, mummies of Egypt. The preserved dead body is called the mummy. Here you can see how is the mummy. The Egyptians had the tradition of preserving the dead bodies using natron salt. What type of that they used for to preserve the dead bodies? Using natron salt, a combination of sodium carbonate and sodium bicarbonate. The preservation process is called mummification. After 40 days, when the salt absorbed all the moisture, the body was filled with sawdust and wrapped with strips of linen cloth and covered with a fabric. The body was stored in a stone coffin. It is called sarcophagus. The body was stored in a stone coffin was called sarcophagus. Okay, children. The next one, how was agriculture and trade? The Egyptians cultivated wheat, barley, millets, vegetables, fruits, papyrus and cotton. For agriculture, papyrus was used for making rope mat, sandals and later for producing paper. They domesticated cattle, sheep, goat and pigs and hunted wild animals. They had pets such as dogs, cats and monkeys. The Egyptians had trade relations with Lebanon, Crete, Phoenicia, Palestine and Syria. Gold, silver and ivory were imported and they acquired the lapis lazuli, a precious stone of bluish color from Afghanistan. Here, forming in ancient Egypt, that they cultivated wheat, barley, millets, vegetables, fruits, papyrus and cotton. Here also we can see the Egypt city. The Egyptians excelled in art and architecture. Their writing is also a form of art. Numerous sculptures, paintings and carvings attest to the artistic skills of Egyptians. The pyramid, you can see in the screen, pyramids are massive monuments built as tombs of mourning to the pharaohs. The great pyramids near Cairo are known as the Giza pyramids. And another one, the Great Sphinx of Giza. is a massive limestone image of a lion with human head. Here you can see a lion, the image of lion with a human head. It is dated to the time of Paro Khafre. It is one of the largest sculpture of the world and measures 73 meters in length and 20 meters in height, the Giza. Here the Great Pyramid of Giza in the screen, view of the Sphinx with the Great Pyramid, Egypt. Next one, religion. The Egyptian practiced polytheism. Amen, Re, Seth, Thoth, Horus and Anubis are some of the gods of Egyptians. They worshipped many gods, but the sun god Re was the predominant one. Later on, the sun god was called Amon. Next one here, the same gift of the Nile, here about the Giza Sphinx. Here, philosophy, science and literature, how it was. The Egyptian civilization excelled in science, literature, philosophy, astronomy, mathematics and the measurement system. Sundial, water clock and glass were developed by the Egyptians. They devised a solar calendar that consisted of 12 months of 30 days each, with the 5 days added to the end of a year. This calendar was introduced as early as 4200 BC. Literary works included treatises on mathematics, astronomy, medicine, magic, and religion. The Egyptians also distinguished themselves in painting, art, sculpture, pottery, music, and weaving. Here about the Egyptian art. And here, gods and goddesses of ancient Egypt, Ra, Osiris, Horus, Isis, what I read, Thoth, Sekhmet, Anubis, Bast. All these, all blessings, wealth, healing, that is, justice for rebirth, Osiris, protection, health and vigor, Horus. Like the variation gods, the people, especially we people are worshipped for the education, for studies, Saraswati, Lord Saraswati. So the same for wealth, Lakshmi, as the same in the Egyptian people also, the wisdom, magic, Thoth, and the banishing, exorcism, that is Sekhmet, underworld and production, that is Anubis, fertility, protects a home, that is Bas. So like the various gods the people worshipped. About the writing system. The Egyptians are well known for their writing system. Their form of writing is known as hieroglyphic. Here you can see the hieroglyphics writing system only. Hieroglyphics was used in the inscriptions on the seals and other subjects. The heretic and another form of writing was used for common purposes. This form of writing used a pictogram based system. It was developed around 3000 BC and many texts and books were written using this script. Now this inscription is on display in the British Museum, London. Here you can see about the characteristics and contributions of the Egyptian civilization. The Egyptian developed a solar calendar system, very important. The pyramid and their designs show their mathematical and surveying skill. Hieroglyphic writing system attests to their skills in handling symbol. Preservation of human body in the form of mummies. They applied innovation in the use of science and technology. Here, do you know children, the word paper comes from papyrus. In the papyrus paper you can see, and that papyrus plant. The Egyptians wrote on the leaves of a plant called papyrus, a kind of reed which grew on the banks of Nile. Here you can see the papyrus paper, how it was. Thank you. Hope all understood this lesson. Thank you, children.